he hits you once, walk away. I'm not saying walk away like go get divorced, but understand that, you live to live, right? He hits you today, walk away and look for solution. Understand, oh, is this a habit? Is this something that, some people say that, he was upset. I made him so angry.
I said some things that got him upset.
Yes, and then he hit me, and then he said I should kneel down.
All right, we'll start today's conversation taking our quote from Patty Rassi Hobson, a poet and businesswoman who has painstakingly assisted and supported countless number of survivors of sexual assault. She once said, "Abuse changes your life. Fight back and change the life of your abusers by breaking your silence on abuse." Absolutely spot on. Now let's take our second quote, and this one is from Jordan Pickell, a registered clinical counselor and trauma therapist in Vancouver. He once said, "Sometimes telling ourselves everything happens for a reason, or it made me stronger, is a way to avoid our grief, our vulnerability, and our helplessness." Let's take our third one and see if it will actually relate or help us understand what we're discussing tonight. This one is from Paula Coelho, Brazilian lyricist and novelist, and a member of the Brazilian Academy of Letters since 2002. He once said, "If you are brave enough to say goodbye, life will reward you with a new hello." Oh, wow. That is what we're talking about. Warm greetings and welcome to the conversation. We're reaching you from Kaftan's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Annabelle Oji. Now, domestic abuse, also called domestic violence or intimate partner violence, can be defined as a pattern of behavior in any relationship that is used to gain or maintain power and control over an intimate partner. Abuse is physical, sexual, emotional, economic, or psychological actions or threats of actions that influence another person. This includes any behaviors that frighten, intimidate, terrorize, manipulate, hurt, humiliate, blame, injure, or wound someone. Now, domestic abuse can also happen to anyone or any race, age, sexual orientation, religion, or gender. It can also occur within a range of relationships, including couples who are married, living together, or dating. Domestic violence affects people of all social, economic backgrounds and education levels. Remember, anyone, absolutely anyone, can be a victim of domestic violence, regardless of age, race, gender, sexual orientation, faith, or class. Being in an abusive relationship affects you both physically and mentally and makes you start questioning your self-worth. Many victims put up with their abusive partners, hoping that they will mend ways and change over time, but it will only make things worse, and the suffering will definitely continue. So, prioritize yourself and take the initiative to end the abusive relationship. Just as Tracy Mallon once said, "Get peace because you deserve more than this abuse. Emotional abuse is the gateway to all abuse. Get out." So, before you get stuck in a toppling spiral loop, an anonymous also said, "Abuse is abuse. Harsh words don't break bones, but they often break hearts." And I agree. Now, today's conversation is on abusive and Toxic Relationship, and it's with our guest, the beautiful Happiness Annie. She is the founder and president of Abujamoms Empowerment Foundation. She will help, and today's episode of The Conversation will definitely inspire people to acknowledge their worth and lead a healthier, happier life. Remember, you survive the abuse, you're definitely going to survive the recovery. I will see you in a bit. Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is The Conversation. We are reaching you from Kaftan's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. Now we have our guest. She is the beautiful Happiness Annie. She is the founder and president, Abujamoms Empowerment Foundation. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Great to have you, ma'am.
Thanks for having me.
All right, now let's start by getting your opening remarks. Is marriage an achievement?
Marriage, even though marriage is a great thing, right? Marriage is not an achievement.
Okay.
Marriage is not an employment. You know, marriage is a beautiful thing. It's something to be enjoyed. However, being married does not automatically make you great. Doesn't automatically make you high end, so to speak. You know. People look at it like achievement here in the part of this world, or in this part of the world, basically because of society. Okay. Oftentimes, if you don't have a ring or you're not married, there are houses where you cannot be a tenant, you know. Therefore, when people finally achieve marriage, you know, when they finally get married, they feel, oh yes, I have achieved something. You know, but really it's not an achievement, it's not an employment, in the sense that people think that once you're married, the man automatically should pay you, you know, monthly bills, you know, should give you something, you know, and I really don't understand why, but marriage is none of those things.
So then is marriage even a yardstick for success, for measuring success?
No, it is not. Absolutely not. Okay. You know, success comes in a whole lot of dimension. For me, I speak for myself, you know, people are successful in different things. You could be successful in your place of work. You could be successful in your business and not successful at you know, at the home front, you know, not of any making of your own. You could be married, whether a man or woman, you know, you could marry a bad person, you could marry a bad man or a bad woman. So what is successful about that? You know, so marriage does not measure your success.
All right, great. It's actually good that we've been able to establish that fact. Now, why is it so difficult for successful women to get married once she has a car, she's living all by herself in her own apartment, instead of staying with her parents? Most men would want to just tag her as a one-yard wife material that cannot even sew an handkerchief. So what exactly is the reason for that? I'm going to ask you two questions and I'd like you to take them in one breath. Now that's one on the side. And then secondly, is that a sign for you to run?
Again, I'll say absolutely. Right? A man who already sees you like a threat would definitely, you know, want to give you hassles. I like to use my experience. You know, so I got a car and then everybody was happy. And then a friend of mine said to me, you know, this thing would push off men. And I'm like, oh, then I should quickly save up and get a second car, just so that the chaff, it will be easy, you know, for the chaff to just wither away. Because, you know, if you should be who you are entering into a lifetime relationship like marriage, you know. So if somebody sees you like, oh, she has a car, she lives on her own, and then he measures you by, you know, what the society, you know, think about single girls, then you shouldn't be with that person, in my own opinion, because I feel that a man who wants to be with you should be excited that you have grown. You are not you're not somebody who is going to just be a liability. You know, so that's it. Like for a tell sign that this person is going to not be excited about your progress. And if you're a woman who has ambition and you know where you're headed, you shouldn't be with a man who is afraid. You know, they say marry right. You know, marry right in the sense that you should be able to know that, oh, I am going to be this or that in future. These are my plans for life. You know, does that person fit in? If the person is afraid that you have a tiny car, if the person is afraid that you pay rent, you're able to pay rent, you know, and then he automatically sees you like somebody who makes the money off of bad stuff, then you shouldn't be with that person.
So that means you should start asking questions before you get married.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Reason being that if you just dabble into marriage, I like to say you would dabble out. Reason being that you don't ask questions, you don't want to see who the person is, you don't know whether he's a narcissist, you don't check his character, and then you just marry. Love is a beautiful thing, right? Yeah. And then a lot of people like, I love him and that's all, I love her and that's all. Because when you talk about all of this, you know, there are men and then there are women who get married, right? So you don't ask questions about the girl, you just see her, she's just very beautiful, you don't check her anger pattern, you don't check anything about her, and you just, oh,
jump right in.
Beautiful wife. And then what? You know, so you should ask questions.
Great. We'll definitely come back to that question. Now, a lot of women, even till date, are not doing anything. No job, no skill, no education, nothing at all. And they are just hoping that some Prince Charming will show up someday and sweep them off all of their bills while they and their families can just relax and just being taken care of, like they say, and just feed fat from the man's money. Now, tell us, does this actually lead to abusive marriages in the long run? And how much will this deter her from walking away even when she's faced with the option of divorce?
Okay, so like I said from the beginning, marriage is not an employment. So if you have the mindset that you just want to get married, sit around and then the person pays your bills, takes care of, not just for women now, even there are men who, especially here in Abuja, who feel that, you know, just look out for one, you know, already made beautiful girl who wants to get married so desperately, and then you marry the person because you just want to be taken care of, right? In the long run, everybody is a human being. Nobody takes up an adult's bill, you know, and then you definitely, I preach, support your husband, support your wife. That's vital, right?
Okay.
However, if somebody sits down and then you're the one who takes care of all the bills, a time will come when the person is tired. That's one, right? It's not an excuse to be abusive. However, it is a natural thing. Okay. Sometimes it depends on how the person is able to hide it. Some people can hide their anger, not necessarily anger. Some people can hide their tiredness, you know, and you're not seeing it. However, if you're not empowered in any way, you know, bringing something to the table, you're preparing something that is bad. You know, getting into a marriage and then you want to sit down, your husband on. I preach women empowerment. A woman who is empowered is a woman that can conquer. Right? You can conquer a lot of challenges. You can conquer, you know, a lot of adversities, things that would come at you, you know, that you'll be able to take care of. Okay. You know, because you are empowered. But going into a relationship like marriage, like a liability, is not what women of this generation should do, right?
So then how much does it actually deter them from walking away, even when they're faced with humongous options of divorce?
you don't have anything. So where are you going to go? Right? Because the world we're living, everybody have their own issues, right? So you say, oh, I need my sister to help me. Your sister has her own kids. You want your parents to help you. Okay, you have your younger ones. You have maybe like a sick dad and a mother who is taking care of that sick dad. There are people, everybody have their own responsibilities. So most times, these are the things that hinder women from moving on.
Okay.
You see a woman being beaten, you see a woman being, put down all the time. And then when you speak to her and like, why are you going through all of this? You'll be like, I don't have a business. I don't know where I'm going to go to. You understand? So yeah, not being financially stable is probably one of the most reason. Like I see a lot of women who come to me, to talk to me about their domestic violence, and then they can't walk away. They can't walk away. Reason being that, she doesn't even know where to buy bottled water for her children. The man is the person in charge of the water, the food, the power supply, everything. And then they come to me and then, oh, this abuse started 7 years ago. Are you kidding me? Yes. He's been beating me for 7 years. He's broken my eyes one time. He's made me this and that.
Wow.
And then at the end of the day, it boils down to there's nowhere to go. I don't have any source of income,
So how about those women who complain of because they're already established in a particular class of women, so now they feel like, okay, they don't want to leave because they don't want to leave that particular class that they've been established. Do you have cases like that too?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
There are women who stay on for as little as their children's school, right? Their children are in this big school. So I have a little bit of money. However, I won't be able to afford that school fees.
Cool.
So, and I don't want my friends to say that I've withdrawn my children, I can't cater for them and things like that. And then they stay on, you know.
Wow.
There are so many reasons why, and these are very, the reasons are very unnecessary, you know. And some people stay on for things as stupid as, excuse my English, but things as trivial as where they live, you know. Oh, we live in Katampe Extension. And then the little income that I have will be able to get me a house in Cairo. However, I would rather be here and die in a mansion, you know, than moving to, you know.
Cairo.
Yeah, there are different cases on my table that are almost annoying, but you know that you just have to make them see reasons why you should choose life. Okay. At the end of the day, life is more important. You're not there. You can never be there if you're dead. Yeah, so.
I can imagine. Now, there's this school of thought that believes it is easier for women who has their own source of income to walk away from an abusive relationship or marriage than it is for those whose source is dependent on their husband. How true is that?
Very true. Very true. In that, if you have your own money, first, there's a limit to how a person treats you, right? You have your own money and then you're getting abused. It's easy to walk away. Okay. It's easy to walk away because you know you can take care of your children. You know, most times, a lot of women, just like our mothers, you know, even in this generation, stay on for just the sake of the children. That's not right anyways. However, it happens. And then, you know, when a woman is being maltreated, you know, and she has her own money. Her own money in the sense that she has her own business, or she's working, or she's doing something, you know, she can take care of herself. It's easy to walk away.
Okay.
It's easy to walk away, yeah.
All right, then. Now, do you accept that school of thought that believes stigmatization of single mothers and divorced women is the exact reason, or one of the reasons, why a lot of women would rather die in an abusive marriage than walk away, even when it is life-threatening?
Yes, it is one of the reasons. However, that's not the major reason.
Okay.
Right. I like to think that. Again, I like to. I speak from experience, from
Okay.
the matters on my table, and from the women I've worked with, thousands of women. So, I like to believe that I know a bit of some of these things. And
Okay.
you have to be single first before this stigmatization would happen, right? However, there's this mindset, entering into the marriage, you don't even want to come out in the first instance because, cultural factor, religious factor, those are the major plague, right? Even though we have to address people who put down single mothers or divorced men and women. I like to make it, I just like to include the men, just so people understand that whatever we go through as women, the men also have their own challenges, right? So before people, we have to talk about it. However, before people even get separated, there are people who don't even want to think about it. For the cultural factor, the religious factor, what would my pastor say? I'm the leader of this group in church, and then some people will say, my father did not divorce my mother. My mother,
She
took all of the
stayed.
things that my dad did to her, and then just this one small slap, my wife is saying she's going. You understand? So some of these things are the things that will make people stay on. They do the our culture and our religion. Yeah, those are the major factors. However, people's opinion, on divorced parents or single motherhood, it's actually very bad, right? Yeah, it's one of the reasons, but not the major reason.
Okay, now let's still staying on where you just stopped right now. Let's talk about that religion, and then what, like you said, what Daddy Gio or Mommy Gio would say, what my departmental brethren would say, what the whole church or congregation will talk about. They would, some people say that they would complain that I do not practice what I preach or sing, whichever way the case may be. And then the societal validation as well. And that phrase, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, till death do you part. Let's start with that particular phrase. How much does that statement impact or affect people's decision to walk?
Yeah. Okay, like I said earlier, it's something that we'll have to continue to talk to people about. For better or worse, fantastic. Till death do you part is a natural death that you're talking about, not the death of a woman strangling you or the death of a man, kicking you on your chest and then you die, right? With that mindset, people like to liken it to some verses of the Bible that will say divorce is not allowed, right? And then they carry that mindset. It's a fantastic thing, right? When you're getting married, nobody gets married thinking, okay, in 6 months' time, right, I'm done with this. Everybody gets married thinking is till death, natural death, do you part. However, you get into a relationship and then you begin to see something play out. It's just important for people to know that it's not worth it at the end of the day. You don't die for somebody and then at your funeral, the person is coming with another love interest. That's what women should know. That's what men should know. You shouldn't die for another person, right? Whatever the religion says, yes, says you should not lie. You lie every day when you go to your shop. right? But when it comes to divorce, you just want to quote the Bible, say all sorts of things so that, you know, an abuser can continue to abuse his victim, or the victim will just stay there, not looking at, you know, a way to escape, you know. So I think that as much as those things are being said, I think that the person who is the victim, you know, should have people who would let them know that it is not to this contest entirely, right? Yeah.
Okay, so now it depends on you who is living with the abusive marriage,
Yeah.
to know when to decipher if it is getting worse, or because a lot of people will just say for better for worse, just stay there. That you've already said it from in the altar.
No, you shouldn't be there. No matter what. There's nobody on earth that is not even your children would is worth your life, right? Your life is your life. First off, you should be there. You should be available, you know, for your children. Yes, be available for your spouse. Be available for everybody. However, any condition that is going to just take your life away from you shouldn't be there. Shouldn't be there. He hits you once, walk away. I'm not saying walk away like go get divorced, you know, but understand that, you know, you live to live, right? He hits you today, walk away and look for solution. Look for, understand, oh, is this a habit? Is this something that, you know, some people say that, you know, he was upset. I made him so angry.
I said some things.
Yes,
that
and
got
then
him upset.
Yes, and then he hit me, and then he said I should kneel down. There are things that are happening. You see, where an adult is telling another adult, kneel down, stretch your hands, and then you know, like, oh my goodness, there are things that shouldn't. Nobody should do to another person, right? So if you experience any of those things, speak out. Speak to people who are professionals. Speak to people who have your back. You know, don't die with it. Don't just keep quiet, and then just know when to walk. And when to walk is when you get the first slap. In my opinion, yes, that's when you should look for help.
All right, we'll go back to that process of leaving. And because you talked about children, how much does an abusive relationship or marriage affect the psyche of the children, especially growing up, and then when you're living with parents who, your mom beats the husband, or the husband will beat the wife, or even ask the children to disrespect the parents? How much does this affect the psyche?
A whole lot. A whole lot. You know, sometimes we as parents, we think that the children are too small to understand, right? And then you hit a woman, you know, or you scream at a woman or at your husband, and then you think that, I know of things that happened when I was 7. You know, I know of things that happened, you know, when I was 5. I might not even know that I was 5 at the time. However, there are things, I sat my parents down. Again, I like to talk from experience. I sat my parents down and I spoke about something that happened when I was 5. Right? And they were shocked. And I said to them, I remember that the only reason why I know that I was 5 when this happened was not my dad hitting my mom, though,
okay,
right? Yeah.
Okay.
You know, but there's this incident of you know, it was kerosene, right? And then my mother had gotten this, I think I don't know what happened. I don't know the entirety of the situation at the time. However, I remember that he poured out the kerosene, right? And my mother was so upset. She was crying and all of that. You know, why would you pour out this kerosene? You know, so in their minds, we're very young children. You know,
You don't understand.
yeah. But I remember that they were carrying my younger sister, and I'm 5 years older than she is. That's how I got to know that I was 5 when that incident happened.
Okay.
Do you understand? And it gave me a different mindset. the moment I remembered that and I spoke to my parents about it, I realized I needed a confirmation. Let it not be that I was dreaming. I had to, Daddy, did this and this happen at the time when Jeanette was small and all of that? Immediately, I sat my husband down and I'm like, these guys, I have 3 boys. And I told him, I said, these guys, they know. You know, because sometimes when we want to argue, of course, people argue, right? We'll just say, they are kids, not shout. Of course, you can't even shout in front of my children, and they will ask you why, what's going on, right? So going back to your question, yes, it affects the way the children, it affects their psyche.
Okay.
First, for the female children, it makes them think that it's okay. Right? Some women will say they are staying for their kids. And then these children watch your husband beat you every day. What you're saying to your daughters is that it is okay
to be beaten.
Right? You might not die in the process of you getting beaten by your husband. However, that little girl that you have schooled, you know, naturally, to think that it is okay to get beaten. She might be the victim tomorrow. She might be the one who dies. So at the long run, if you're alive to witness that, somehow you know that you have a hand in your daughter's death. Do you understand? That's the way people should see things.
Okay.
You're hitting your wife, your son is there, you have a daughter. Do you understand? What you're telling your son is that it's okay to hit women. And what you're telling your daughter is okay, you know, if your husband hits
abuse.
you as a man, you're at risk. If your daughter dies, you will feel very bad. However, you are the one who killed her. You killed her from the moment when, you know, you started making it okay for her to witness such gaudy and appalling sights, right? Yes, the effects.
Oh, wow. All right, then let's go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll continue with this conversation. Don't move a muscle.
You're coming from a place where you've obviously had 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 bottles, you know, you have a hat on coming. This is live TV, so I don't know what not to say.
It's fine though.
Okay, so you're coming back, and then in your mind you think that you're already ready for sex, and then you meet a woman who's been working her ass off all day, you know, very tired and all of that, and then you touch her and she says, please.
If you've just joined us, this is The Conversation. We're reaching you from Captain's Television Studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. If you just joined us, you've missed quite a lot because we've been talking about different things with our guest, Happiness Ani. She is the founder and president of Abujamoms Empowerment Foundation. All right, and before we went on that break, we've said quite a lot of things.
Yeah.
Now, Anonymous actually was quoted as saying that it is like, okay, let me take it from here. He said, it is like one day you flip a switch and become someone I never knew. So now when I read that quote, in my mind, I just ask, at what point does it actually turn sour? At what point does it get so bitter? Do people actually spend their time, spend their money, their energy to marry someone that they don't love? And then you said love is a beautiful thing. Is love even enough reason to get married? Because when you see some of this abuse in marriages, you just begin to wonder, at what point did he become like a devil's advocate? What point does it get so?
I like to think that things happen, and then it's a build-up of a lot of things. First, an oversight from whoever is marrying the person.
Oh, okay.
Know? Yeah. Sometimes, you know, I have people who were married to narcissists, and then most times I like to ask questions. I'd be like, how did you not know? Right? And we have that, there's this thing we always would want to say, he would change or she would change, right? Some people out of the blue, you know, turn something else, like your anonymous quote. It could be maybe the kind of friends that you're keeping.
Okay.
It could be maybe there are certain triggers, right? However, it is more from the angle of people, you know, being in denial of what they are seeing right in front of them.
Okay.
Some people marry at from desperation. You know, I must get married. I am 110 years old and I don't care who's coming, you know. And then you forget that, okay, you have another 150 years to live. Do you understand? And then again, some people see the little things. They see them as little things. You know, you're talking to the guy, hey, shh, when his friends are around, and then in your mind, it's because he's my senior by 2 years, right? So some of those things that we overlook are part of the things that, you know, when he finally has thinks that he has you in his corner, right? He begins to manifest every other thing that he has hidden before that time. You know, so those are some of the things. Sometimes it could be as a result of a lot of things. Well, when your question is, at what point does it go sour? I wouldn't say I know when exactly. However, you who is married to the person, you begin to, there are things that you see. There are signs that you begin to see if you want to see those signs. Some people don't want to see the signs.
That's another different kettle of fish.
Yes, yes. Some people are not bothered about the sign. You know, they just want to wait until all of it is built up and then
just blow up right at their faces.
So,
all right then. Like you talked about, if you want to see the signs. Now, during courtship, before marriage, are there always those signs there? Are those signs there that the future, there's a disaster waiting to happen? For example, like you talked about, is someone who harsh their friends, or a nagging woman who doesn't even know when to bridle her tongue, or a guy who feels intimidated of your success and just stylishly informs you that I want my wife to, whoever I want to marry, even though she's a career woman, I want her to become a housewife or just open a shop, like some of them would say, just to feed his insecurities fat. So are those ringers always there so that to give you the sign to run in the future?
Most often than not.
Okay.
You know, there are signs, right? And then people would say, what if there was no courtship? There should be courtship. Nobody is saying have sex. However, there should be a time, you know, whether it's, I see people who've gotten married after a few months and then they've been living happily ever after, you know, very close to me, 17 years and counting after very few months. Yes, one of the best marriages I've ever seen. So it's not for the time. Okay. However, it's for the study of the person.
Okay.
Right? There are tell signs.
Okay.
Like I said, if you want to see them, right? There are things, I'm not saying just purposely annoy somebody. But I'm saying in the way he talks, in the way she talks, in the way I've been present, you know, with a couple, and then very solid businessman. His phone was buzzing, but they were all for business, right? And for every ring of that phone, who called you? Babe, who's calling? You know? And I know that this is a habit that, you know, somebody just did not wake up to have, right? This is something that you would have seen. You know, there's crisis in the marriage now. And I know from just being with them, that was a couple of years back, right?
Okay.
But I know, I knew right then that there's something waiting to happen. I'm not in the relationship. However, the fact that somebody is so insecure, right, that the person suspects every single person who you speak with, that's a tell sign that there's this is a
A
problem.
disaster waiting.
Do you understand? And then there are people who think overly of themselves,
Okay.
right? Those are traits of narcissists, right? The ego is out of this world, and then you're in a relationship with that person. You're fanning their ego and pretending that what you know is bad is him actually loving you. Somebody is controlling your time, is controlling, how you eat, when you eat, who you speak with, why are you on Facebook, why are you on this group, bring out your phone, who did you talk with? There are signs. And I'm just, naturally, when you're in love with somebody, you want to think that this is my Prince Charming, or this is the queen of my heart, However, we should learn. People should learn. Know that there are. I don't know how to put it. However, there are tell signs. Let me not take you out of your question. Right? There are tell signs that people should, really watch out for.
All right, great. Now, for the sake of someone who is watching us right now, undergoing one abuse or the other, and they ask themselves, how do I go about it? You talked about some steps. So now tell us, what are the steps towards emancipation?
Firstly, you have to speak.
Okay.
You have to speak to someone. Oftentimes I see people say, who do I talk to? People just gossip and then blah, 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 and then I'm still here. And I'm like, so what? If they gossip, okay. Move on to the next person. But don't just keep quiet about it.
Okay.
All right? And then understand the pattern. I'm talking emotional abuse now. When it's physical, I say run out immediately. However, physical abuse is not just the only type of violence, domestic violence that people go through. Okay. When it's emotional abuse, right, there's a pattern. There's a pattern for all of the abuse. However, for emotional abuse, the person could just run you down, insult you, tell you all sorts of things, and then he goes into the honeymoon phase where he begs you and promises you that this would never happen again. Either he or she, and buy you stuff, right? And then you enter the next phase, tension phase, where the tension begins to build up again. The person starts to react gradually, gets offended at every little thing. And then he goes back to that thing that he promised would never happen again. So if you see the pattern, speak to somebody. Okay. Know that, you might talk to the wrong person, especially for women. We're always afraid that if your friends know, they're gonna laugh at you, or they will tell somebody to tell somebody and all of that. But that shouldn't be your concern. If somebody is abusing you, speak up. That's the first step. Speak up. And then if it gets worse, it could even be sexually. There are different kinds of abuse. Right? There are people who rape their wives every day. And then it's my money, I paid the bride price. Are you kidding me?
But how do you rape your wife though?
That's another subject, right? Because it's something we can talk about for over an hour, because it is a mindset thing. People think that a woman shouldn't be prepared. You're coming from a place where you've obviously had 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 bottles, you have a hat on coming. This is live TV, so I don't know what not to say.
It's fine though.
Okay, so you're coming back, and then in your mind you think that you're already ready for sex, and then you meet a woman who's been working her ass off all day, very tired and all of that, and then you touch her and she says, please, I beg you, not tonight. And then you hit her off tear off everything, and then in your mind you think that, okay, she's my wife, she has no rights. You just abused her and you raped her. They say that it's not rape when the person is your husband, but that's the lie of the devil, right? Whether you're a wife and then you forcefully, just have sex with your partner, you just raped the person. It should be something there's mutual agreement, right? So back to abuse. If the person is sexually abusing you and then you think that it's too shameful to talk about, right? Speak up.
Okay.
Don't be quiet about it. That's the first step. Speak up. And then when he hits you, take off.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Take off, because don't be the victim that is being carried out in a box. Right? Don't wait until that happens and then you say, no, if this guy tries this thing, there are women who I have a case, somebody has hit you and then your eye is damaged, right? And then you're saying you're just going to give one more chance. If he tries this again, he's been doing it for years. And then you're saying one more, he has apologized this time, but this is the final chance. What if the final one is just that one punch that puts you in a box? So
like they say, one blow, seven die.
You understand? So I'll just say, speak up, and then if he hits you, take off.
All right, great. Now, domestic abuse, like you said, is a bi-gender challenge experienced globally, not only in Nigeria or Africa. Now, a lot of men also face domestic violence, mentally, financially, and physically, and they cannot speak out or speak up for fear of being tagged as weak. Now, there's a social media message that someone sent to us, and then he said, okay, let me take it. He said, I was doing very well. I'm sure that's what he meant. I was doing very well in my spare parts business in Lagos. My wife works in a multinational company in Abuja and earns very good money. She advised me to leave the business and come to Abuja so we don't have to stay apart from the children. I did. Now, I'm not doing anything. I'm just at home doing school runs, taking care of the children, the home, and broke, but I dare not complain. What do I do?
Complain.
Maybe complain to her or complain to people.
First off, you dare not complain is like somebody killing you, right? You it's like beating a child and then hushing that child. No. You sit with her, have the conversation, tell her your what's the right word to use now?
Self-esteem?
Yes, everything is affected, right? And then you don't want to die like this. Have a conversation with her. Have a conversation. Let her know how you feel about it. She might think that, okay, she's taking care of all the bills, so why should you worry? Your business, I know that your business is no longer functioning, so I'm taking care of everything. However, the man is broke. The man is doing just school run. Nobody can survive like that, right? Not even a woman. It goes to show some of the men who would say, don't do anything.
Become
right?
a housewife.
Yes, become a housewife. And then you're reducing that woman. Your brain, I don't know, I'm not an expert, but I know that even with my brain, sometimes when you don't read, you don't do anything, you begin to see that your IQ is low. You begin to find it difficult.
Slowly.
Yes, you begin to find it difficult to solve tiny things that ordinarily you would have solved, before the time. So it's not a good place to be for anyone. And I would advise the man, if he's watching, have the conversation with her. If she does not want to have the conversation, look for somebody, just like we advise women, look for somebody that your husband respects.
Okay.
Right? Look for somebody that she respects. Let the person have the conversation with her and say, oh, it's been brought to my attention that this is what your husband is going through and he's not liking it. If she loves you, Oga, she will change.
But what if for those men who are complaining that they don't like to talk because they don't want to be tagged as weak?
You're not a weak person for trying to get what is right.
Okay.
Right? It goes to same thing I told you about people. For women, they say they don't want to talk to another person for the fear of gossip. Which is what the society, some societies think about women, when you bring matters to them, right?
Okay.
However, I say to people, so what? So what? We're talking about my life, right? If I keep quiet so people don't think I'm weak, I die in my silence. Right? My everything about me every day, and then that's when the dislike, and then the hatred, and then the love just naturally dies, because you see the person who you're supposed to love as the person who is responsible for the way that you feel all the time. Right? So you're not a weak person, that's one. Secondly, if anybody thinks you're weak, that's their problem.
Okay.
That's their problem.
Okay.
I'm raising my sons to understand that speak. You are a human being. You are a man, yes. However, you are a human being first. Cry when you want to cry. Talk when you want to talk. Let your emotions. So if it's somebody that I know, if he comes to me, I'll tell him, speak up. The person who doesn't want you to talk is the person who is actually weak. You are the stronger person wanting, to fight for your life, to fight for your mental health.
Okay.
Right? Speak to her, speak to whoever she respects. And then if it's not working, that's an abuse right there.
All right, so as much as we see the toxic relationships or the marriages out there in the open, the media and in the open, there's still the good ones, people who enjoy their marriages, like you. We know that you enjoy your marriage very well. And now this toxicity keeps growing everywhere and makes a lot of people. I've seen some people come out to say that, please, I don't want to just get married because of all of these things I see on media and the media and all of that. So how would you advise that category of people that regardless of what you see in the media, there's still people who enjoy their marriages?
There are people who enjoy their marriages. Just look out for the person who is right for you.
Okay.
And then this is one of the reasons why, when I see people say, don't put up your marriage online and all of that, I'm like, it's nobody's business. If somebody is happy in her relationship, her marriage is working, and then she wants to put up something on her Facebook or her Instagram, allow her. Don't tell anybody not to, because what the world is seeing now is the evil. Right? There should be a balance. Yes, there's evil and then there's good. However, a lot of good marriages are afraid to even, come out and talk about it, because there's this belief that, if people know that you're enjoying your marriage, they would there's nothing that can happen. Right? So for people who want to get married, people who feel that, they don't want to get married because of the things that they're saying online, I'll just like to say that what you see online is not all that there is.
Okay.
Right? There are beautiful marriages. I'm not going to talk about just me. I'm very grateful to God, However, there are millions of marriages that are working. Even if they don't come out to say it, there are millions. There are men, there are people who I just want my husband and I to be friends with, right? Because I love what I see, right? There's no two marriages that are the same. However, there are people that you can learn from. So most times, if my husband says something and he's, can we just have dinner with this couple? I think there's a thing or two that we can learn. If I see somebody like that, I arrange for dinner, and I tell my husband, can we just go sit with these guys, for some time, so people should not be afraid. Just watch out for signs that this person is a good person or this person is actually my person, get married, enjoy your marriage, and don't be afraid of what you see on the media.
All right, then now let's divert a little bit and talk about women. Now, there's this popular notion that women generally hate women and that women don't like to support women. It's been a long time coming. I think I've been hearing that from since I was a kid. Now, how can this narrative be changed even as we look forward to another political year that will actually change the lives of Nigerians? Looking at from the Anambra state elections, you had women, a woman who came in, and then a lot of people said, how much did other women even support her?
Okay, so when it comes to that lie, that women don't support each other, you know, we're trying. The women of this generation, the platform that I run, we're trying to just change the narrative, you know, for the generation coming.
Okay.
Reason being that this lie of the devil has been fed to women from generation to generation, right? And nobody, I don't think they tried to change the narrative, right? However, there are bad people, there are bad men, and then there are bad women, right? When men go for elections, you don't see, how do I put it now? All the men line up. For instance, not state elections, not presidential elections, elections in the office. Say a man and a woman, they are competing for something. You don't see all of the men just go line up behind the man to say, oh, a man must win, right? They want to critically know who they would benefit from more as a boss. Is it going to be the woman? Is it going to be the man? You know? So I would like for people to understand that when it comes to politics, right, women should support women, no doubt. However, let it be known that it has to be merited, so to speak, right? Coming from the angle where, you know, you as a politician, you just come in and then your only I don't know the right word, but the only thing you want to put out there is your femininity. I'm a woman, therefore all the women should just line this way, right? Do right by people. Let it be known that you are a woman of virtue. Let it be known that, oh, you can deliver, right? So that when people are saying women should support you, you know, it's not from the angle of you just being a woman, right? Yeah, it's just one of the things that the devil uses to just play with our minds, you know. And then you see there are lots of ways that women support themselves. You come out and then you say women don't support themselves because a woman lost an election, you know. You're just fanning the lie, right? So women, we support ourselves. Women, we support ourselves
root for ourselves.
Yes. There are people who, whether they were men, you know, they would still be bad people, right? So that doesn't take away the fact that we're trying. We're there for each other, where there's this instinct that naturally just wants you to help another woman. And then we talk about it a lot, trying to make women understand that there's no competition. We're not in competition with each other. You know, the sky is wide enough for everybody to fly. You know, so it's something that we'll just gradually continue to build. However, it has started happening. Women are supporting each other, and then it will continue to go that way.
All right, great. Now, on a final note, we're going to play a game. I'm going to ask you questions and very quickly you answer. Now, for you, is it love or money?
Love.
All right, so who are your best couples alive? Nigerian first.
It's not people that you know. If you ask me, I would just tell you Jane and Austin, like I said.
Okay. Okay, great. And then international?
Will Smith and Jada Pinkett have been my favorite for a long time.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've
All
gone
right.
through a lot, and they are still
They're still
standing.
staying together.
Yeah.
All right. So now, when you want to get intimate with your partner, would you rather ask or just get right to it?
I can ask without speaking. You
Okay.
get what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you don't have to just verbally just. For me, I don't think I've ever just verbally just say
Ask.
something. Yeah,
Okay.
but he knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, now on a final note, domestic violence or SGBV happens everywhere and every time. In fact, as we're talking right now, someone could be facing one domestic violence or the other.
Sadly.
And he or she might be watching us right now and they're asking, what do I do next? So would like you to say your last words to these people. Pour your heart out to them.
I would say that it's very unfortunate that you're going through that. However, choose to live. Choose life, no matter who the person is, whether it's your wife, it hurts, however, life is the ultimate, right? So I would say live now. Live, don't live in a box. Just if the violence involves physical abuse, leave immediately. I don't preach divorce. However, there's separation. Move to a place where you're safe, and then try to work it out from there.
All right. Thank you so much for your time with us. It's been a very wonderful time having this discussion with you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
All right, we've been having a very wonderful heart-to-heart talk with Happiness Ani. She is the founder and president of Abujamoms Empowerment Foundation, and it's been a wonderful time. I'm sure you must have been rightly entertained, educated, and informed. Never accept anything less than you deserve. Remember, you teach people how to treat you. Don't allow someone to mentally abuse you just because you love them. Every individual has a right to be treated respectfully. Being single and happy is far better than being sad and afraid in an abusive relationship. Never feel guilty about ending toxic relationships because nothing is worth trading your inner peace and dignity. Always take a stand against all forms of abuse. Gather courage to fight for your peace and progress. Healing may be a slow process, but always remember that you deserve happiness. Like someone once said, get out now, because abuse only gets worse over time. No one deserves to be treated like a dirt. No one, not even you watching us right now. Because have you ever gone through so much? You have actually gone through so much. So you deserve to be happy, at least for once. So find the strength inside yourself to value your own worth more than staying with someone who only keeps you down. Just as Assunta Harris once said, overcoming abuse doesn't happen. It takes positive steps every day. Let today, now, tonight, be the day you start to move forward. Thank you all for watching. I will see you next time. From the nation's capital, Abuja, I am Annabelle Oji. God bless Nigeria.